This is it, homies. It's time for the Dim Carnival to pack up its tent and disappear back into the night. But you never know when the Dim Carnival will show up again. It could be just this way.
Welcome back to the Dim Carnival. I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is not the last episode of the Dim Carnival, but it is the last weekly episode of the Dim Carnival where we'll be assigning music tracks and then talking about specific tracks when we return the following week. We'll talk more about the future of the Dim Carnival after we have finally finished talking about Forgotten Freshness Volume 4, and we're going to finally finish talking about Forgotten Freshness Volume 4 right now. We wrapped up with the tracks we hadn't listened to before, which are Toxic Love, Thug Pit, Murda Cloak, and Wicked Helloween. Does that sound accurate to you guys?
Yeah.
Yep. That's
cool.
The four I did.
And I'm excited to talk about Toxic Love because Steve and I have known about Toxic Love ever since we bought the single issue of the Pendulum that had the Toxic Love CD affixed to it. So if you haven't listened to Toxic Love, take a listen right now.
The whole car smelled like pickles. I stuck my toe in her ass and tweaked her titty nipples. We fucked for about an hour. I dropped her off where I found her and went for the shit.
Guys, a song about fucking a barrel of toxic waste.
Yes.
Not to give it away up top.
Yeah, well, yep. I mean, well, there you go.
It's toxic. The number 5 issue of the Pendulum, Toxic Love. It's a tale of misplaced, and I think this is the rare sex song that Steve likes, but mostly because it's not about the sex, it's about the repercussions.
Yep.
It's a cautionary tale, a morality play, if you will, about getting too excited when you get out of the mental asylum and moving a little too fast with a lady by the name of Roxy Carroll.
I don't know if this
song wants to take us through this.
What's that, Steve?
I was just saying, I even have a picture of what she looks like.
Oh, you want to show it to us?
Oh, I'm sorry, I mental picture.
Oh,
No, you want to illustrate it for us with your word mouth? Oh, okay.
I kind of like a 50s pinup girl / sloppy toxic, like instead of alien body, like oozing, almost like a Garbage Pail Kid, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I'm picturing like a Futurama robot or like Rosie the maid from the Jetsons, but like just a barrel and like with a dress pulled taut over the barrel.
That actually is a lot smarter. Yeah.
I'm also picturing, a barrel with curly blonde hair and a tube top and a mini skirt stretched over around a barrel.
Tube tops are hot. There's no denying it.
I really dug this song. I thought it was great.
You'd heard it before, right, Ryan?
I had never heard the song before.
What? Oh my god.
This was my first time hearing Toxic Love. And I just thought it was a love song, and that's why I thought you kept teasing Steve about it. And so then when it started, and he's like romancing this chick, and then he gets his dick all gross, and then it turns out, oh my god, it was a barrel of toxic waste the whole time. And then he says, when I jam my penis into you, my balls light up like light bulbs. It's so good. I was like, there's no way Steve doesn't love this song. This song rules.
From the first day, I mean, what Bill's talking about getting that comic was part of like him buying me a birthday present and coming in a package. And so there's all this stuff, and this was a CD in there.
Oh, I didn't remember that at all. I'm
That's
glad you
amazing.
Yeah, when we the first time we lived in anyways, never mind.
That's okay. For your 52nd birthday.
Yeah.
Okay, so I really like the concept of the song. I like the music is really great. There's like Tweety birds and stuff. It's got this kind of innocent, that cherubic kind of quality that ICP does with love songs. But also like there's a weird phaser that's thrown in there, so you know that something's not quite right.
Yes.
And
he sets it up very deftly in the very first line after 3 years in a mental asylum.
Yeah, but he's fine now.
Sure. Just like Joker, when Joker gets released from Arkham Asylum.
My favorite parts are that, the first that her pussy smelled like cheese pizza.
Which is great. It's a good smell.
And I like in the background, Violent J responds to himself. He goes, well, damn. And then
guys, sorry. I want to divorce this from the subject matter for a minute, but I just want to do a thought experiment real quick. If you say something smells like a cheese pizza, is there a specific cheese pizza that comes to mind for you in your sense memory, or just a vague that is a cheese?
The first cheese pizza that I always think of is when that place we used to go in on Tuesdays with Wes.
Bike rides and baseball.
I don't remember what that pizza place was called.
Like 3rd Street Pizza or something?
5th Street Pizza, 8th Street Pizza.
It was a number. 4th Street.
Yeah. Pizza and a soda for you get a slice and a soda for $3 or something. Or a beer.
Steve, how about you? What's your cheese pizza smell?
This is awful. Elementary school.
What's from the subject now? Oh, your memory is awful.
Yeah, I always think of elementary school.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, like the biggest pizza fan. I like pizza and I'll eat it, especially if that's what there is to eat. But I never say, "Oh, you guys hungry? Let's get pizza."
That's all I ever say.
Violent J is the first person that is I guess a celebrity, right? That I've ever known or heard be open and talking about the number of STDs that he's contracted. Generally, I think STIs, right? A lot of people, when they contract an STI, they're very embarrassed about it or whatever, keep it private. Violent J talks about it openly. And part of it is because I guess now he's really proud that his dick is so clean. Well,
especially compared to this song.
Right. But in his book, he mentions that he contracts syphilis multiple times.
Caught syphilis 3 times. Committed mad felony crimes.
And so here, this gentleman, in the song, has scyphilophagus.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this. I just want to appreciate Violent J for really taking one for the team to kind of demystify. Even though he's making, he's not even really making fun of it though. He's just talking about how shitty it is. His dick's doing a fucking 100-spoke Dayton, spinning around. It's got smoke coming out of it.
All the descriptions of what happens to his genitals after he has a liaison with Roxy Carroll is just really fantastic. When I woke up the very next morning, I was awake when my dick was snoring. It was whistling and shooting out smoke.
Whistling is bad. Whistling is bad. You don't want that.
Imagine if you went to take a pee and it whistled. Even that would be concerning.
Well, it's that scene in Planet Terror.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, for me, part of like why some of those lines, they're just brilliant in and of themselves, but this background sound for me is it sounds like there's farts or gas escaping. Part of me thought farts, and then part of me thought like toxic waste barrels with bubbles and the bubbles popping going.
Bubbles, yeah.
And so so much of that, those lines hit, and he says the grossest part. There's a sound of the happening, like, and it just, and even if you're not paying attention, it's subconsciously you're picking it up. And from one of my favorite lines is when he says, "My dick is crispy, but my drawers are wet somehow."
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant.
Like just it's all great. Like the thing that I think is the most evocative is I'm dragging my balls behind me. They're as big as a mailbox, bumpy and slimy. Now, the only thing that isn't clear is, are they as big as a mailbox, or are they each as big as a mailbox?
I always wonder that too.
I think they'd have to be.
They're as big. It's a good song, you guys. It's fun.
It is.
It's gross. It is like it's gross. Yep.
In a good way.
I have such a other like the first major attachment of loving the song is just Bill and I discovering it from getting it in the mail or in the comic, and then hearing it and just being like, what the fuck, this is the greatest thing ever. And then like running it in the ground in whatever like media players, like burning on discs and eventually putting it on MP3 players and on an iPod. It's for me, you know what I mean? Like running the song on the ground. But there was a fellow, and I've talked about him in the past, that I worked with that I turned on to ICP as well. And this song we really have a close connection with because we laughed so hard listening to it. And we had this joke where we would see each other, whether I was at his apartment or we saw each other at the headquarters where I worked. And we would just say, the whole car smelled like pickles. And we would laugh hysterically because that line is so ridiculous. The whole car smelled like pickles. Like, so, and then that sound. That is actually why I love the song.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
good.
with the Bill part making it already a love song, and then to add the second stage to it, it's ridiculous. I love it.
Yeah, I'd say I don't normally go for the gross out humor. This one definitely got me. It's great.
Well, I mean, I think the music plays a really good role. I mean, because it's layered with sounds, fart sounds, and other sounds that you guys talked about. If I'm not mistaken, the chorus is the X-Files, or a very big ripoff of the X-Files. You know, which makes me love it. Yeah, so much about it is it was perfect song for me. It was almost as funny to me as someone taking a baseball card with a Sharpie and drawing on it and changing the names and adding fart poots in the butt and stuff like that. I got that book set.
Poots in the butt.
I like these kind of I don't know what Violent J would call this style, but when he doesn't really always rhyme on beat and just kind of is like storytelling or whatever, gets a little more loose with his rhyming patterns and stuff like that. I like those types of songs. I like when cause it's usually that he's doing it because he's telling a story. And I tend to appreciate those songs a lot more, but I was just really excited when this one started and was like, oh shit, all right, this is what I like about ICP, when it's a whole concept, you know? That's what I come here for.
I was thinking that, you know, we've always like talked about ICP having different ranges of songs, like they either tell the overall story or they're just like them being psychopathic killers. This like goes in the genre that ICP did for a while, where Violent J just allows himself to be like self-deprecating, I'm crazy. Kind of falls in the lines of like songs like Jacob's Word and some other songs that are like in this line. And I love these styles of songs. Even like when he like remade a Dark Lotus song with I put poop in a hot dog bun. Like it's along this this series of songs where Violent J, I'm just nuts. And these are some of my favorite songs of ICP when he's doing that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good times.
Great times. All right. Does that do it for Toxic Love?
Yeah.
It's very, very good song. Very good song. Before we move to Thug Pit Remix, I just want to mention you guys talked about Silence of the Hams in an episode where I was not around. But I just want to say this is my first time listening to Silence of the Hams, and it's a bummer because it would be a really good song if it weren't for the unfortunate stuff that happens.
You know what, man?
The song starts off and I'm like, oh, this is a pretty dope song, and then it gets to the shitty stuff. So
yeah, it's got that cool beat, right, with the police siren in it, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I'm so glad that I didn't listen to it at all, because the 4 tracks this week were all pretty great, and so it made for a really good time.
Yes.
Skipping that one. I recommend skipping that one.
So let's talk about Thug Pit Remix. If you have not listened, listen right now.
Stage with the wickedness. It's the wicked wiki wonka, baby. Try and get with us. It's that nigga that be on blood shit. Check me off in the thug pit. Fuck with the KMK, ICP bone and you get drugged, bitch. Celebrating for Sam Hain. If you don't wanna come with the wickedness, a nigga wanna slam strange. I don't wanna hear a damn thing.
Wicked Wonka, baby. This is Insane Clown Posse featuring Tech Nine, Cottonmouth Kings, Isham, and oh my goodness, the Bone Thugs in Harmony. These people went out on tour. Tech Nine, Insane Clown Posse, Cottonmouth Kings, Bone Thugs in Harmony. They went on a tour called the Wicked Wonka Tour in 2000, 2000 whenever this was. And that probably would have been a pretty good show, guys.
Yeah. 2003. Well, this was the Hallowicked 2003 track. Not so much like a Halloween type of song.
I would say it is not.
But, this is the collaboration era. So here we have a lot of collaborations. Of course, the Cottonmouth Kings. This is the most exposure that I've had to the Cottonmouth Kings. Right? Didn't we recently? In addition
to the last one.
Yeah, so
we put on this album.
Right. But this one is there's I think 3 different verses or more from the Cottonmouth Kings. Multiple different rappers. I don't know. It's hard for me to keep straight. I know who Tech Nine is. I know who Isham is. Bone Thugs in Harmony recognize both those guys. And so
I know who that is.
And of course, Violent J and ICP, who do an amazing job, both of them incredible on this track. So I assume all the other people who I don't recognize their voices, they're all the Cottonmouth Kings. And I can't tell if it's at least 2 people, but maybe 3 or 4.
Who can say?
I couldn't say. They say some of them say their names.
Sure, probably.
D-Rock and whatever they are. I can't remember. Also, Bone Thugs in Harmony, yes, but only 2 of the... Is there 4 or 5? 4 Bone Thugs members? So we don't get...
I think there's 4?
We don't get... There's 5, actually. We don't get Busy Bone, we don't get Wishbone, and we do not get Flesh and Bone. We only got Lazy and Crazy.
And Hard.
Which really
Sneezy Bone.
And Die, right? Lazy and Crazy, I mean, that's not half bad.
Those are the good ones. Those are the most well-known ones, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Busy... Well, in any case, we mostly get Lazy. I think we get 2, maybe 3 verses of Lazy, and then we get 1 verse of Crazy Bone actually coming in as Leatherface. But this is like it's called Thug Pit, so it's kind of like a thug track. It has like a Judgment Night kind of sound to me with the guitars and the and the siren that's going off in the background, which not a diss. I wasn't mad about it.
Yeah, I mean it's good. There's nothing wrong with this track, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. Out of the 4 songs that we covered tonight, this was my least favorite, I guess. It was a really cool song, but it was just not very interesting to me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There's
not really a lot to say about it.
I didn't write any notes on the content at all, actually.
Yeah, same here.
Whoops.
It's that kind of song where it's more about the lyrical flow versus the content. And that's why I say, like, I couldn't point to a single line right now that Violent J says, but his flow is dope, and it is.
Would you say that that's a lot of Bone Thugs stuff is similar?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's like their delivery. I mean, I don't want to take away. I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're very talented, but like
I'm not familiar with. I know the first couple records of Bone Thugs and Harmony, which actually that was great because I was like, ooh, Bone Thugs. We'll go back and listen to like Creeping On Come Up or whatever. But
those songs are very different too. Like listening to their albums, because I did that same thing.
Oh yeah, I went back to their.
Yeah. And you're just like, wow, this shit's great.
Oh my god, it's so good. Yeah, their album Creeping On Come Up, that was like one of the first records that I bought that was so openly anti-cop. Like almost every track was just like fuck cops. Every single track. I was like, oh damn, this is dope. But so a couple of things about Bone Thugs and Harmony though. So Crazy Bone is on this track as Leatherface, and that's like kind of a name that sometimes he would call himself, I guess, when he was when he wanted to rap about something more violent. Creeping On a Come Up, and before that, what was their first one? Their first EP. They had some like horror kind of elements, scary imagery and stuff like that. And so it's actually not a unusual pairing or whatever. There's a lot of like almost satanic type imagery, even their album covers and stuff like that, their early album covers. And then of course they blew up with Crossroads. So Crazy Bone is I didn't know if you guys knew this, has 2 Grammys. So Bone Thugs and Harmony, they won a Grammy in 1997, Best Rap Performance for Crossroads, and that's when Bone Thugs and Harmony like blew up, right? Became super huge, I think.
Oh.
Crazy Bone is the only member of Bone Thugs and Harmony who has a Grammy that they don't. Like he's got his own Grammy, which he won in 2007 for his track with Chameleonaire, Riding. And so first I'd like to point out that this track was recorded in between those two. So in between winning 2 Grammys, Crazy Bone made a track with ICP. The other thing is that White and Nerdy is a Weird Al Yankovic song that came out in 2006. The year after this, and Bill bought that record. We were living together in San Jose.
So good.
We had just moved in together in San Jose.
So good.
And that was kind of a reintroduction for me into Weird Al. I think you had shared a lot of Weird Al with me when we lived in San Francisco a few years previous, but this song I was really, really into. And so what I realized is that I had never listened to the original. I had never listened to
Chameleonaire.
Yeah, never heard it. Only heard like maybe in a song, a clip or something like that, but never listened to the whole track.
Amazing.
So that was really nice, and then of course I had to listen to White and Nerdy, which is amazing.
Got it. Yeah.
So I appreciate all of that that came up as a result of listening to this track.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned like they recorded a song with ICP in between winning 2 Grammys, but I'm pretty sure that 3 6 Mafia did a whole album with ICP after winning an Oscar. So
right. Yes. Fuck yes, man. That's respect.
So WWE, ICP knows how to book.
I like how you just automatically said WWE.
Yeah, I'm tired.
What are you, raising a baby?
They're good. What they do.
The last thing that I want to say about this track is that Tech-9 completely wins this whole song. His 2 verses that he has, or whatever, his 1 verse is spectacular, and it made me really want to listen to more Tech-9. So
nice,
definitely gonna do that.
All right. Further thoughts about Thug Pit remix, other than totally decent song that there's not a lot to say about. Okay. Well then, let's talk about the penultimate track here, which is Murda Cloak, which is ICP featuring Anybody Killa. If you haven't taken a listen, take a listen right now.
First time in his life, after that I take his help and leave him gasping for air. So So every Halloween you better know, Murda Cloak, beware.
Life is so cold. Life is so mean. Just let me sleep till next Halloween.
What I like about Murda Cloak is the Hallowicked CD that came out that had Murda Cloak on it is a guy in a Murda Cloak in a big fedora holding a pair of scissors to stab somebody with.
He's got a fedora on.
He's got a big fedora on. He looks like someone from Homestuck, the MS Paint webcomic. Yeah, if you go to the Genius page, it's right at the top of the Genius lyrics for this song.
Nice. Okay, yeah, this is great. Oh, it's like the shadow.
Yeah, but it's Murda Cloak. This is a song about a Murda Cloak.
You put the Murda Cloak on and it makes you bad. Or when you feel like being bad, you put on the Murda Cloak.
Yeah, I got it like it's something that like it's a murderous tradition passed down from his father to him.
Mm-hmm.
You put on the Murda Cloak when it's sort of it's like what's his name? Norman Bates putting on the dress to go do the stabbing. What's the cloak?
Stabby stab.
Stibbity stabbity.
I just speaking of the first section of the song is kind of broken up into 3 sections, and the first section with Shaggy and then Violent J. First off, Shaggy blows the doors off this. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but his verse is amazing. Like his delivery, like it's just I absolutely enjoy what he's doing. And a part of what makes me appreciate it is it kind of reminds me of them doing a modern version of what they would have done on Ringmaster, I guess, or you know what I mean? It just sounds like a really classic ICP song.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it just sounded so great. And it was like Shaggy performing verses in that type of era of rapping. And he's better. It just sounds great. I absolutely love that whole part. And as the song changes along the way, obviously there's like some things that Violent J says. I'm kind of like, and I know it's in context of a character, but I'm still kind of like,
Yeah.
But it's still like he does an amazing job with it. So
this one was weird because I felt like it was like a really brief song that there wasn't a lot to, but it's like 5 minutes long. I couldn't believe it. I was like, it's a 5 minute long song. How is this 5 minutes? But yeah, there's just a lot of gross stuff I wasn't a big fan of on here. Like I like the general concept of like the dawning of the ceremonial or the ritualistic garb, or like trying like the sort of unreliable narrator part of like, is it this garment that makes me do these things, or is it me and I'm trying to rationalize it by blaming it on the garment? Like I found it an interesting concept, but I wasn't like a huge fan of the song.
I think it was really just impactful to me the way, like, after Violent J, or after Shaggy and Violent J, then like it has this really crazy halfway through the song shift in the music, and then like ABK comes in, and I like the way that transitioned, and ABK's verse was I don't remember it now in retrospect, so I don't have too many notes on what he was actually saying, but I don't feel like I was super offended by it the way I was by Violent J's verse.
No, exactly for me, because a little bit skeeved out during Violent J's part. Like Shaggy's was good. I completely agree with you. I hear what you're saying too about the way that he makes his flow or whatever. I'm trying to remember what other song I feel like he does that on, but I also do like the old school kind of sound, so I definitely agree with all of that. But a little bit skeeved out by Violent J, but then ABK just comes and steamrolls through, and they do a little shift on he sounds like a little more lo-fi and crunchy. And then his thing is like having fun with it. Like he's like, oh, it's Halloween, so it's like a big party, even though he's going out and murdering people. He's making jokes like saying that he looks like Darth Vader or whatever. And so it just seems like a lot more of that kind of evil, wicked fun like combination versus, you know, just like scary or bad or whatever. It's a little more interesting to me.
Well, a lot of Violence J's verse was just like straight up someone being an abuser. Like not even like serial killer and like, oh, like we can excuse the violence because it's serial killer. Like, this dude was just like his dad was just like, you know, I guess I guess he was killing people, but it was just super awful, killing sex workers.
Yeah.
Using spoons pull out people's eyes. Normally that would be funny to me, but in the context that he said it wasn't.
Yeah, man. It's hard to break that cycle of abuse, right?
Can't have my spoon. Yeah.
There was like a big third change to the song after the ABK where I felt like that, and where it really changed the direction of the song in the last part. But it's just Violent J, so.
Right. There's a long outro.
Yeah.
A long. But, you know.
But I like the song. I mean, I liked it better than the song before.
Yeah. I like the next song a lot.
Yeah. Me too.
Well, let's talk about it, huh? All right. The last song of the album is called Wicked Helloween. And if you have not listened, please listen right now.
There go my old house. I go knock. Trick or treat. Some chick opened it up. I stabbed her in the gut. Started choking and shot. What happened to the wicked? It's time to get blood. And we get blood everywhere. It's time to get blood. And we get blood everywhere.
Guys, Mikey Clark track to wrap it all up. Brand new track on Forgotten Freshness Volume 4. Starts off with a perhaps real, perhaps fake sample from a scary movie, maybe. Just classic Mikey Clark, Halloweenish, spooky ghouls, scary stuff about some people who wake up from the dead, claw their way out of their graves, and set about looking for vengeance or just something to do, maybe.
Yes. This is the fucking good shit. This is... You got the little spooky skit, like you said at the beginning. It's got bouncy beat. Still.
Bouncy beat.
Can I ask, did the intro remind you guys of the intro to Evil Eye?
Sure.
Yeah.
Reminds me of
think, like,
a lot of intros.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I just kind of felt like it almost had like the same... I don't remember now if there was like a background eerie noise, but just like the delivery and almost the words that he says are very similar to Evil Eye.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, and it's cool though that he's like talking about being buried alive, and Violent J's verse starts with him crawling up out of his grave.
Yeah.
Just so he could go home. He just wants to go home.
It's great.
Yeah, so he's just a zombie, and he's talking about doing the clown walk, which is a callback to this very album, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just goes home, and unfortunately someone has moved into his house since he's died, but that doesn't stop him from just coming on in.
Sure. Come
As
on
he's
up,
walking,
take the
home, he
elevator.
chews on his tongue like it's gum.
Mouth noises. On Genius it says mouth noises, which I think is maybe the best part.
Incredibly strong chorus.
Yes.
I've never heard them play this song live, as far as I know, because I would probably completely lose my shit.
Oh my god. We should. Oh my god. I would really love to see them play. It's time to get bloody. Yeah, we get blood everywhere.
Oh my god.
I want to hear him. I want to hear Shags yell in his broken voice. The moo.
Oh my god. Oh, so great. So good. And now I'm curious to see how whether this lines up with the 30 Rock. If only it weren't a full moo. No, it's so fucking good. Oh my god. This obviously the highlight of the whole song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I thought it was so good. I just love Violent J's verse, you know, and I was like, oh, this song is so rad, and the chorus comes in, I'm like, oh, it's so fucking good, and then Shags hits you with that moon, amazing.
Yeah. And also, his wife, while he was dead, got older and now looks like Mick Foley.
That part was kind of interesting. So I kind of thought that Shaggy was. I didn't picture him also as coming up as a undead, but I thought he was like more of a vampire. But I think there's no reason for me to think that.
I took it as he's dead because he's like, I'm looking like a big Yoda and I've got a worm hanging out of my nose.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
He says I rang the doorbell with a dead ass rose. So I think just the extremely often I'm laying in my coffin, but this Halloween the lid's coming off, son. A dead ninja got to put work in. Like he also says it's been 20 years. So I think it's pretty clear. Just a dead guy.
I don't know why I thought it was, but anyways.
But it does give the I don't blame you for.
I think it's just the
thinking about imagery of like Dracula.
But he's at first when I was like, oh, he gets there and then she looks like McFoley, so he kills her, and I thought that was like a bad thing. But then I was like, wait,
because he doesn't want to die lonely.
I misunderstood. He's like, that's cool, we're gonna roll, like let's go, come on,
yeah.
He's got to kill her so that they could live together. So great. This is it's got a happy ending.
Also, just like I don't want to let it go that when Violent J is trying to get to his old house, his leg snaps off of the knee, so he just beats a kid up with it and takes the candy.
Right. It happened to be Halloween.
Now I just want to. I want someone to re-edit the WandaVision Halloween episode to have ICP and Shaggy, or to have Jay and Shaggy in the background as dead people walking through, and it's a music video. That'd be great. I love it. I would love it.
Would you guys agree? Because a lot of these songs today, I feel like there were callbacks to other types of other albums that these could have been songs off of, which makes sense because it's Forgotten Freshness. But I felt like this song could have been a reject from Shangri-La because it has a very upbeat, and the way the music is played, and I don't know, and the way they rap, and not necessarily the content, but everything else about the song, I had a very like Shangri-La vibe as I was listening to it, and it made me really appreciate it on top of the funniness of the lyrics.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely get that.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has the right kind of energy for that.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think I like having the variety on this record, to hear that some years it's like a scary song or some years it's a funny song. Seems like they kind of mix it up. And I appreciate that.
Kind of mix it up, man. Okay, keep it fresh.
Egg beaters.
Work some down to only 3 eggs a day.
Well, it
all
was
right.
fun
Any final thoughts about Wicked Halloween? Or?
Well, I was just gonna say that it was fun. These were some fun songs that were, new and fresh, like new songs to me, but also like reminiscent or whatever, evocative of eras past. So it was just a really fun week of tracks to listen to. Made me really appreciate this band a lot. It was great.
The fun 3 weeks or whatever. Oh, you mean the whole Forgotten Freshness, or just this assignment?
Well, no, specifically these 4 tracks, but yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm agreeing with you, Ryan. Don't get upset.
I'll get whatever I want.
I think that's
Why don't you guys
gonna
kiss
do it.
about it?
Mouth noises. Thanks to everybody for listening to us wrap up Forgotten Freshness Volume 4. We know it was a long time coming. Thanks for bearing with us. Now let's talk about what's going on in the future. We had talked last week that this is going to be the last Dim Carnival episode of the type you're used to. It is true. We will no longer be on a set schedule. The Dim Carnival, as it has existed to this point, is basically going to end. But this is not the last time you'll be hearing our voices. So just don't unsubscribe, and then every now and then you'll get a nice little treat, a little mousse-bouche, a little soupçon of what we've brought to the table so far. And it'll honestly, the stuff that will come in the future will be stuff where we're more high energy than we have been in recent months, where we'll be more invigorated and excited about talking about the stuff we will talk about, and we will not be chronicling everything in as painstaking a fashion. Basically, so when we made the decision last year to pivot away from we had been hitting, like, we went through the first Joker's deck, and we had been hitting the big side stuff that we felt we needed to hit. And then at a certain point, we pivoted and made a decision, I believe, on an episode of the podcast where we're like, look, let's just cover everything the Psychopathic Records put out. Like, stuff we had no interest in otherwise, stuff that we had never heard of before, people we were completely unfamiliar with. And we made that decision because our mindset, our rationale for doing that was like, we enjoy getting together and talking to each other. We enjoy talking to you guys, talking at you guys. And we wanted to, like, sort of get the full breadth and context of, like, what ICP is, what Psychopathic Records is. But now we realize, with the benefit of hindsight, we were essentially just setting ourselves up for failure and setting ourselves up to get completely burned out on everything, which is exactly what happened. We, pretty early in the experiment, we were like, well, we were supposed to listen to, like, 3 Esham albums, but we don't really want to do that, so we'll probably do that some other time. And that probably should have been a red flag, where we're like, hey, let's listen to everything in the discography. But that would mean we'd have to listen to these 3 Esham albums that all got released at once, and we absolutely don't feel like doing that right now. So that probably should have been a red flag right there. But we kept doing it, and we made more work for ourselves than we needed to put in work for, and for me, and I'm sure for the other guys as well, it started becoming more of a chore than something that we were looking forward to. Like, most weeks that we tape the podcast, we, like, bullshit for, like, a total of at least an hour before and after actually talking about the songs. And it had gotten to the point for me where it's like, I love talking to these guys, and it's a drag that we have to, like, stop and talk about the stuff that our podcast is about. But that's just my point of view, and I think that, what you will hear in the future is we will pop in from time to time and basically cover an ICP album, and probably some extremely rare instances of non-ICP albums, but probably not. But we're like big ICP fans again now because of this podcast. So, like, we're interested in listening to, like, the Joker's cards that we've never listened to all the way through, and we would like to talk about it when we do that, and we would like you guys to listen to our conversation when we talk about it. So that's the sort of thing that's going to be coming up. We don't have any timetable. We don't know when. We don't know where, but it'll happen. Just keep subscribed. Every now and then you'll get a treat. But there will be something that is not that will be coming very soon from Ryan. And,
well, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But that's a teaser. And if Ryan wants to elaborate on it, he can. If he doesn't have to. But I'll turn it over to you guys, and you guys can talk a little bit about the decision we've made and so forth.
Steve, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll throw in my 2 cents. So much of what Bill said, I totally agree, and it just, the best part of all this, a lot of the times, is just being able to talk to my homies. And as much as I love talking about ICP and the things we did, like Bill said, it kind of became a chore. Some of it was really difficult at times to listen to and try to, we did a good job, actually, of, like, picking out what we really did not like and saying this song was great, but, they said X, Y, and Z in it, and it made the song difficult. I felt like I was getting stuck in a rut at times where I felt like every song I explained was like, oh, this song's really great. I like the beat. I like this. I felt like I was losing just the enthusiasm to feel different about certain songs. Like, there might be a song like Tonight, Toxic Love, where I have a very, like, close connection and funny backstory, how it relates to my life. But outside of that, I feel like it's like just a repeating script that I keep saying about songs. Like, this is cool. I didn't like when they said this. I didn't like when they said that. And I feel like with the break and being able to take a little bit of time and then revisit some new stuff or things that I've actually heard, that we've all heard, or partly, and then going forward, like, we have time to really digest stuff and really break it down and be able to speak to it better. I felt like I wasn't giving it the respect it deserved in a lot of ways, even if I didn't like it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to say first that like how much I appreciate everything that both of you guys said, because I'm right there with you on all of those things. For me, I guess just in the last few weeks, I realized that, well, and I'm seeing on my social media feed, I guess it's sort of like a phenomenon that's happening right now where a bunch of people are like waking up from a depressive state that they weren't really aware they were in.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was like very depressed, and I didn't want to do anything creatively. And it was really odd for me because, Bill, you've said before how much this podcast has pushed me to do more, have more creative output. And I've never done anything like what I've done for this podcast in terms of like the amount of effort, to create art and music and videos and whatever. Like, it's been so amazing to have a thing to channel all of those interests of mine into, to try and do that stuff. And it's been really great. So I haven't for the last several months, just haven't had the motivation to put out anything creatively, but I'm starting to come out of it. Like I said a few weeks ago, started realizing like, holy shit, I haven't listened to the podcast since October. I haven't posted anything on Instagram in like 6 weeks. I haven't posted anything on Twitter in over a month, like, what am I doing, And as I'm starting to come out of it, now I'm becoming inspired again, and I want to start creating. I want to start making more stuff. And to be honest, I don't want to do it for this podcast anymore. I want to try. I'm really excited about this summer coming up and the possibilities for the world or whatever. And so I want
to be a white boy summer.
I want to try to do something really positive, And
is this White Boy Day?
Right. It's White Boy Wednesday. Yeah. And so it sucks because I have really loved doing, and I'm not done with some of the projects or the things that I've started with the Dim Carnival, and I tend to finish them. Like the video project that you mentioned, that hopefully the homie Rob is going to help me finish.
Nice.
But I want to do other things as well. So I've already like reached out to a bunch of people to try to start new creative projects, and see how that goes, to see if I could challenge myself to do other things.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing what you and we can accomplish. And it just, more than anything, like just the podcast as we have been doing it, just has become untenable in many various ways. So we're looking forward to doing stuff that is, we can put more happiness and energy and creativity and excitement into. And, that may or may not take the form of more podcast episodes, but we appreciate everyone who has ever listened. We appreciate everyone who's ever written. And I, of course, appreciate Ryan and Steve to the ends of the earth. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to ICP, who may or may not have listened to an episode of the podcast. Who knows? See if Silent J ever figured out how to do a podcast. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been really cool. We've been doing this for a few years, and we finished the first deck.
At least we covered like a lot of music that I had never heard before, and like you said, it's completely reinvigorated my fandom in this band, and definitely just I listen to ICP just anytime, I never used to just pick up ICP and listen to an ICP track. Now I listen to them all the time. So just, yeah. And there's to know that there's so much more of their catalog that I haven't heard yet. Like really looking forward to continuing to go through it.
Absolutely. Steve, anything else to add?
Not too much. I definitely will miss it in just the camaraderie, and I could use the brain exercise and listening to stuff and trying to figure out something different to say about something that's very similar to what I said before, about a song that's very similar to something I've said something about before. But I feel like a nice break and then doing an album at a time will really give it the respect and the attention that it needs. And who knows what we'll decide to do in the next year or two. We're all crazy dudes.
Who indeed knows?
You know?
Wild and crazy guys.
Yeah, I mean, good God, I'm getting old. You guys aren't even as old, but man, shit. Makes me feel young, but it makes me feel old, and I might need it to make me feel young again in the next couple of years and be knocking on your door saying, hey, don't you guys want to do weekly episodes again?
Holy goodness.
Maybe.
Wow, that was...
that guy wants to do weekly episodes right now.
I like hanging out with you guys because I'm the youngest. I'm not generally the youngest person, so it's dope.
It's really cool that when like when one of my cats keeps me up all night, then the next day my back hurts all day, and that's fun.
I thought it was just me, but
that's not something that happened when I was a teenager. I'll tell you that much.
Wow. I sleep good every night. Sorry, guys.
Well, you know what? You can eat shit, dude.
With your healthy body and shit.
Yeah, you can't see us, but Ryan's visibly the most healthy.
I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my entire life. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, it is spring training, Ryan. So
yeah.
White girl summer.
That's right.
All right. Well, thanks to everybody. Thanks to you guys. You guys are great. I love you guys. You can write us at dimcarnival@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at SetMotel. You can buy my book if you want to. Check us out. Dim Carnival, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Parler. No, not Parler. No, not Parler. Gab. No, not that either. Grinder for sure. Thanks to everybody. We appreciate you all. Any parting words, everyone?
I mean, you make it seem so formal. Like,
I know. I kind of.
We'll see it. We'll see you around the way.
It's just another week. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Until next time, I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
Catch you on the flippity flop.
Hibbity hoppity.
The clown flop. The clown walk.